Let's go out to Ashton in Jacksonville, Florida. What's up, Ashton?
Hi, Dr. John. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for taking my call.
Of course. What's up? How
I'm
can I help?
calling today. Well, I have almost like an iceberg of a question. Initially, it's fairly simple, but when it just goes into so many facets of my son in my life, it just becomes more complicated.
Sure. Go for it.
So a quick backstory. I'm in my mid-30s. I'm happily married to my husband, and we have 2 children together. Our son was born about 10 and a half years ago, and he was diagnosed with cerebral palsy. He is doing amazing.
Wow, that's awesome.
We were told originally his prognosis was he might never speak clearly. He might never walk without assistance. And he's overcome all of those hurdles in these past 10 years.
Oh, it's amazing. Congratulations. That's so cool.
Thank you. We know we are blessed. Absolutely. We have supportive family. We have supportive church members. But it feels almost as if we live in this in-between world. Because he's doing so well, a lot of people can't tell initially that he does have special needs. But he also does so well that he doesn't necessarily, I guess for lack of a better term, fit in with children with special needs.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just asking for some advice on how to help him navigate now that he's becoming a teenager soon.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want him necessarily to fit in, but have the confidence to know who he is and know that, wow, there are limitations. I mean, it is a reality.
So there's another side to this. He doesn't fit in with what we would traditionally think is as a classroom full of children with special needs, but that means he also doesn't fit in with the kids running around playing PE or football, PE, and running around and like being a normal jumping up and down. So he's kind of finding himself in no man's land, right?
Exactly, and he started to realize this recently. He mentioned to me the other day that he was feeling a little bit lonely because the boys will run off to play tag, and he can't do that. Yeah. But he can still play.
Sure. So, if it's okay with you, Kelly, the producer of the show, has very personal experience with this. Very similar situation with her son, and I would love to invite her on to her expertise, her lived expertise in this. Is that okay?
Absolutely. Can I just share one more little factor?
Absolutely. You got it.
Okay. So my husband is in the military, and he's gone a lot, like most military members. However, when he's gone, there's no contact while he's gone.
Okay.
There's no phone calls, no letters.
Yep.
And so it's really just me for 5-6 months of the year.
Yep.
So it makes it a little bit more challenging, in my opinion.
Yes. I'm going to give you a meta picture that I'm going to unpack here, but I want Kelly to speak into some of the very specifics with your young one, okay?
Okay.
It sounds like there is a fight going on inside of you between the way this should all look versus the way it does. And here's how that unpacks. Who wouldn't want to be married to a special ops guy who comes home and says, I'm going to save the world, literally? Can't tell you where or when, but I'll be home. And like that sounds so amazing. And then
very romantic in a book.
That's what I mean. Like in the movie when Chris Pratt flexes and it's like, oh, I'm like, Chris Pratt's looking pretty good. Like I'm into it. Right. So and then all of a sudden he's just gone. And there's also month 4 of a Black Ops deployment. It's really lonely. And then there is the 2 kids running around, and who wants to be having a conversation with their kid about what they can and can't do, right? And you're so grateful that he's doing so good and he's beat every prognosis. And yet we still need to have this conversation because middle school's gonna be tough on him, man. Right? You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so there's something to be said for the devastating, you're gonna have to grieve it at some point, owning the reality, this is my picture. And from there, from the choice to own reality, out of that is, okay, here's what we can do. Here's the conversations we can have, the support networks I need, but I'm going to live out of this, because if my body's still trying to solve for this picture that's not real, it's going to be hard. It's going to constantly feel like you're at war with yourself, or it's that underlying that burn of anxiety that never stops, that exhaustion, right? Because we're trying to make a life happen that just isn't our reality. So I'm going to bring Kelly on here. Kelly, tell your story about Nathan.
Hey, Ashton, how are you?
Hi, good.
Good. So I am a few years down the road from you. I have a 17-year-old, and he we adopted him when he was 2. He has CP as well. Where yours is right side of the body, ours is lower half of the body.
Mm-hmm.
He walks with a limp. We've had quite a few surgeries and years of therapy, which I'm sure you know that.
We live at the therapist.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's like you might as well just move in with them. A lot of physical therapy, some surgeries that were life-changing for us. But it's the reality we live in. It's his reality. He still has a limp. There's still some things happening. There's still a lot of things he can't do. So I understand where you're going with that. And so what you say, you talk about how he's starting to question that. Is he at the point where it's like, I want to play football, I want to do that, I want to do these things?
Yes, it is. I want to do some more things, but even more so, it's like in PE, where, he can participate to a certain point.
Right.
And he doesn't want to be separated from his friends. And I think, so he actually is highly intelligent.
That was my next question. So developmentally, he's fine.
Yes. He has no emotional or intellectual delays. He actually skipped a grade.
Wow.
Because he is so intelligent, which is wonderful. But now he's with even bigger kids.
Right. I was about to say that. Yeah. It's a double-edged sword there.
So let me ask both moms here. Kelly, what is there a benefit to teaching him? Sheila, my wife, calls it exceptionalities, that you've got some differences, and I'm going to teach you how to begin to advocate for yourself, both with your friends and with the PE teacher. And that's going to be that's going to be conversations that you two moms will have that I won't have with my son. Right? But it's just it's teaching them to own their reality, right?
We've always been very, very open about talking about the disabilities, because I've got 2 kids with disabilities, and about this is just your reality. And we always say that the only thing this gets you is better parking at the front and better line and front of line at Disney, which it doesn't even get you that anymore. They took that away. But, this just gets you better parking. You still have to function in the world. But it does look different, and there's different ways you have to do things. Does he have does he have an IEP?
No.
Okay.
We go to a small Christian school.
Okay.
And we chose that school because we can speak directly with the teachers. And every year we just have a document we sign with the school with certain exceptions for him that they will follow.
Physical, yeah.
I would tell you, I hear this a lot, and it's been my experience that often, not every time, but public schools, because they have to provide resources by law, often small private schools will roll out of responsibilities or say, well, we just don't do that, or we can't help with that, when public schools absolutely 100% will.
Because they have to by law.
They have to.
And one thing we found with Nathan.
And very skilled workers.
Very skilled workers and other kids like him.
Yes. So that leans into he is doing so well. We spent months, we even actually had to go through a legal process where the city had said, save these services for a child who really needs it.
Oh my gosh.
What? Because physically,
wow.
And he's intellectually advanced, and we're not looking for a legal battle.
We're going
to do what we need for our son.
You need to reach out to Disability Rights, Jacksonville. Disability Rights Florida, because that's their purpose.
I would have somebody's head on a platter.
Nonsense, crap like that. I hate God Almighty.
Okay, let me get back to like just.
Okay, sorry, you're getting me all fired up.
Yeah, I know that's where I want to go with that. But with the issues you're dealing with, does he have a group of friends?
Yes, at the school he does have a group of friends.
Good. Those, especially those boys, are going to become his lifeline.
Mm-hmm.
My son had the same group of friends from kindergarten, and we moved in high school, and he's dealt with that and he's done it. But we found out that when I dug into those kids and how that group worked, because I had always had that fear that, are they getting left behind? Are they making fun of him? My son falls a lot. That's just who he is. He trips and he falls. And they just know they wait. Yeah, every day. It's part of their world. They just wait. They're like, it's just Nathan is what he does. Mm-hmm. And so those group of boys, I started a lot of having those boys around, not just in school. We did things with those boys. It's who we did birthday parties with. It's who we had over, because I knew they will start to protect him from anyone else. Right. Because for them, they're just like, no, it doesn't matter. It's just, whatever your son's name is, it's just him, and they don't think anything different. And we started having to find, because my son did that, well, maybe I could play basketball. And in your heart, that's not going to happen, and so it's not going to work. Well, possibly that could work. What are some other options if you don't do that? And now my son plays esports, which is basically a glorified way to play video games. But it's where he's found his community. It's where he's found his people, and he loves it. And so relying heavily on those boys and their families, getting to know their families. And there are jokes that my son will make about his disability with his friends that I will tell you make me cringe. But it's how he thinks they're funny. He's okay with it. And I always say, you just make sure you're okay with it. Oh, I think it's hilarious because it's who I am, Mom. I'm not hiding anything.
My son's a comedian too. He will call his, like, if he can't pick something up, he'll be like, oh, right, he's not working today.
Yeah, and my son does some DJ stuff, and he wanted to be DJ Crippled at one point. And I was like, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to call a big no on that. But we've always with Nathan just kind of let him lead the conversation, because let him lead how he wanted to do it, but put plenty of options. Here's the options, and if you want to play basketball, buddy, great. You never know. You might find that coach that'll let him do it. But the way he sees a counselor, his counselor told me something that really helped. Let us as the parents always be the yes. Let the coach or the whoever be the bad guy. If you want to play basketball, bud, great. Let's talk to the coach. Or if you want to play football, and then you get to hug them and hold them when they cry because it's not going to happen. But you're the one that says, great. I'm behind you if that's what you want to do. But then when it's not going to happen, all right, well, let's look at chess or acting or whatever. But that was very helpful because my husband and I want to raise him as he's just a person. He's James. This isn't, it's a part of his life, but it's not his life. It's not who they are. It's just, it's just like I have brown hair, and it's a part that sucks.
I always encourage him. And I wasn't sure now that if he's getting older, I should say no, because I've just been doing what you had recommended, giving other options and saying, okay, well, we'll see. Let's look into it.
And as he got into middle school more, we had, well, why don't you go talk to the coach, kind of making him do it a little more. Okay. And then when he was like, Mom, he said, that he doesn't think it'll work. Okay, well, do you have any interest in being the manager? No. Okay, well, then you know what? When you cried, that's where I come in.
And by the way, for parents that don't have kids with special needs, my sister is a savant. She's a brilliant. She was on the academic decathlon team. My little brother missed like 2 questions on the ACT, and then there was me, the football player in the middle, right? So my parents had to have different conversations with me.
Every kid is different.
That's right. And so I think it's backing out of your expectations and dreams and wishes for this one and saying, who is this human being before me, and what special contribution can this kid make to the world? And what limitations is this person going to have? And every kid's going to have them. Children with special needs are going to have more pronounced ones that we can all see. But it's
and you can't clear every obstacle,
right?
You just can't, because you're not. He's going to have to live a life, and you can just. We've told Nathan before, I can't clear this obstacle, but I'll help you figure out a way around it. And, what can I do to help you? And if you need me to advocate for you, if you need whatever, I'll do it. But it's not just going to go away, because it's just part of the world. They have to live in the world still. But yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And as a parent with a child with special needs, I've seen all sorts of children in the therapies we go to the doctors, and I see so many families who have it much more challenging and heartbreaking than us. And I struggle with feeling almost guilty using services sometimes.
Stop
Nope,
with that.
nope,
Get
nope,
that out of here
nope.
right now.
Don't ever feel guilty.
Wow,
No.
Felicia, with that.
Yeah, that's done.
You cannot compare tragedy.
Right.
You can't compare pain. You can't compare individual circumstances. Your reality is your reality.
There are plenty of services. You need them for.
It's not sum zero.
Yeah, there's not just a pie and this is all we get. There's only so many services. You have as much right to those services because you're advocating for your child. So yeah, you got to let that one go. Because
we've gotten our child everything that had been recommended. It's just we've had to go through several locations to try and find someone who would give it to us without us having to fight them.
Right.
And that's because we live in a messy, ugly.
And sometimes you will have to fight them.
Yeah. And
that's okay because there are services, I hate to use the word entitled, but that you have the right to, but don't ever feel guilty. And I mean, like there's times with, like, hey, the handicap parking spot, there's 4 down from that we could take. And Nathan's like, I'm fine walking that, Mom. I can do it. Okay, great. We'll do that, and not take up that spot in case somebody needs it. But yeah, you got to let that guilt go. That yes, there are. Again, we don't compare tragedies. There's different versions. Everybody's fighting their own battle. So yeah, that you're doing what you got to do for your boy.
Okay.
Smile big, and for whatever it's worth, I've taught at the university level, at the highest level, with doctoral students, and I've taught law students. So I've been in across the board here, right? Or I would say I taught law students, served law students. The opportunities for your child are going to look different, but the world is open for them, right? And so let that little boy be who he's going to be, and be the fuel in his jetpack, not the GPS system telling him where he's going to go. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. 2 other things. Hold on, I want to say real quick. Not a bad idea, maybe to start a counselor. We started a counselor with our son about maybe 10, 12, because there's going to be some anger issues. And there's going to be some things he doesn't want to talk to you about. So
yes, we actually just started counseling.
Perfect
For him.
That is a great
thing. I wanted to find a man who
and that's what we
could be there for him.
That's what we did, and it was great. And and Nathan's 17, and he still goes once a month, and he loves it.
Okay.
So that's a great thing to put in place. And then learn to be the sounding board when he comes home and says, Mom, it really sucked today because they played basketball and I couldn't do it. You can't fix that. Remember that. You can't fix it, but you can sit there and go, wow, that must have really hurt. Tell me about it.
Can I hug you?
Yeah. You want a hug or, whatever. You can't fix them all. And sometimes you just have to sit there and go, I'm sorry. Yeah, bud, I'm sorry. That really does suck.
And can I challenge you and husband?
Yes.
This is easier for me to say because it just doesn't apply to me at this moment in my life. I would love to challenge your husband to every week he's home, write a letter and put it in an envelope that's undated. So that every week he's gone, your 2 kids get a letter from Dad. Telling him how much he loves them and how special they are, how an exciting memory he might have that's not that he could share a piece of or something, but that they are getting something, some sort of communication, some sort of reach out. And 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 25 years from now, the effort, the kids will understand what lengths their dad went to make them feel special and seen and loved, even when he was out fighting evil in the dark. I think that'd be a cool thing.
That's a great idea. We're definitely going to implement that.
That won't be fun for him, I know, but man, I think the gift downstream to your kids would be magical. But all in all, Kelly, thank you so much for your wisdom and insight there. Thank you for being a great mom, Ashton. Thank you for being a great mom, and congrats to your son for just continuing to defy the odds. I love the idea of every parent sitting back and asking themselves not, what can I make my kid do? What is my kid capable of? Who is this person in front of me? What are they into? What do they love? What are the things we need to rally around them, right? So if your kid is all into theater and choir, that's incredible. You're gonna have to be help with movement. I want you to play soccer. We're gonna go outside and go for walks together because movement's important. And if your kid is just jock 2000, let's go crush them and cool. I want you to take piano or violin too. Like it's our job to round out our kids, but it's not our job to say you will end up here. I'm telling you, I can't count the conversations. Lots of them. Kids in their 4th year of grad school or finishing up a PhD or finishing up an undergrad degree saying, I absolutely hate my life. And I'm only doing this because mom and dad said, this is what you're right. They forced me into a path. Moms and dads, let's love our kids. And Ashton's just setting a great example for her little one. Thank you so much for the call, Ashton. We wish you guys the best. Holler at us if I can ever help. And thank you and your husband for your service. And for all those that are out on ops that none of us know about except for the husbands and wives sitting at home with their jaw clenched. We're grateful for you.